Welcome back, everyone, to the Cheap Lunch podcast. And I'm welcoming someone back to the podcast as well. Ethan, been away for a while.
It's good to be back.
Been in America.
Been in the US of A.
Yes. 4 weeks?
3
Three
weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks gallivanting across the country.
You are a gallivanter.
I like to be described as that. I like to think that I'm a bit of a gallivanter.
What?
My Spotify Wrapped described me as an adventurer.
I think that's probably pretty accurate, though.
I think so.
What songs are you listening to, though?
All of them. Apparently, I listened to 21 different genres this year. And that's I think, because my wife and I share a Spotify account. Oh. And so I'll listen to my music and she'll listen to her music.
Taylor
and
Swift.
I listen to Taylor Swift also. And then our crossover becomes something like Taylor Swift, and that becomes, we become in the top 5% of listeners of Taylor Swift because that's the only thing we both are listening to.
Gosh.
Consistently. Anyway, we're adventurous.
I'm glad I'm not part of your household.
Oh, she's a wizard.
Is she?
She is. She's a wizard.
Are you floating a conspiracy theory?
Yes, she is magical, and it's literal magic.
She's a lizard or whatever.
She's a lizard. Oh, I spent 3 weeks in America. It's easy to start thinking like that.
Just before we introduce our lovely guest.
Yes.
Best part of America.
Best part of America. I have had to pick one because people are going to ask me what my favorite part was.
Yeah, which I did this morning.
Yeah, the answer has pretty much always stayed the same, but there has been every day was something insanely good, and it was incredible. But the one they most regularly come back to is Yosemite. Was just the most beautiful place on earth, and it was just absolutely stunning. And it was like God had just kind of sprinkled a little bit of his final touches. He was just like, oh yeah, here's a little garnish, and that's Yosemite.
Icing.
Yeah, icing on the cake. And I was saying to someone the other day, it felt like in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, when they walk through the wardrobe into Narnia, it was that kind of vibe.
Did you say The Lion King and the Wardrobe?
No, I said The Lion, the Witch.
Oh,
the
okay.
Lion.
I thought you said The Lion, Witch, and the
Lion
King and the Wardrobe. I'm like,
No.
This is a C.S. Lewis.
It's a mashup.
C.S. Lewis and Disney together.
Yeah.
They went to Africa.
That's Lion King.
Yeah, it's Lion King in the Wardrobe.
Nah,
Instead of going into Narnia,
Savannah.
they went to Africa.
It's like
Same story.
my favorite part of Lion
Desert
King
instead of snow.
is when the monkey hits him on the head and goes, "Ow! What was that for?" And he's like, "It doesn't matter. It's in your past now."
I was reflecting with Katie the other day. We were listening to Disney songs, and we were listening to "I Can't Wait to Be King." And I said, as I grow older, I relate more and more with Zazu in that song. And
Now see here.
yeah, and he's just like constantly being like, just pull your head in and stop, like, and he's trying to like look after him. Anyway, I just really empathize with Zazu throughout most of that film.
But you
Out
used
of
to be
service?
Simba.
Oh, I used to be Simba for sure.
Out of service, out of Africa, I wouldn't hang about.
So good. It's so good.
Rowan Atkinson, Zazu, Mr. Bean.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas was Simba, I think.
Really?
I think so.
Huh.
I'd have to check that. Anyway,
Sorry.
talked enough about ourselves.
Amazing facts there.
You have returned from America to introduce our guest.
Yes, this
Please
is...
introduce our guest.
Hello, everybody. Welcome, Kate.
Hello.
Woo! Clapping sound.
Excellent, yeah. Put that in. Ek.
Put that
I
in.
like it how it...
Yeah, we're good.
Kate, how are you?
I'm well, thank you, Joel. How are
That's
you?
good. Well, I'm very excited because it's been taking me quite some convincing to make you come on, you to come on this podcast.
a lot of peer pressure.
And how are you feeling so far?
Oh, peer pressured.
Excellent.
Oh,
In a good way? Good peer pressure?
way.
Look, I'm here in a
Positive
good
peer
way.
pressure.
Sure.
Look, I'm here for it.
I'm up for it.
yeah,
Excellent.
awesome.
Tell us, you were dropping all the kids off to school. Did they go all right this morning?
It was fine. Fridays, Rob drops Darby at school.
Okay.
And the boys walk. So
Oh.
You're laughing.
I was late for no children reason.
I was really just having a nice coffee and reading my book or something.
Listening to The Lion King.
Yeah, that's right. I would like that. We like to open every Chip Lunch podcast with the same question. How do you like to eat your hot chips?
My hot chips are crispy, chicken salt, no sauce.
Crispy chicken salt.
As you can tell,
No
someone's
sauce.
listened to the other podcast.
I haven't.
Oh, you haven't?
Interestingly enough, I want to thank you, Ethan, because I just realised this week, or found out, that my son Josh now likes chicken salt.
Oh.
I'll be here all week.
Hallelujah.
Because
Praise the
of,
Lord, because of chip lunch.
of the podcast or the actual
Or
chip
the actual, like, tangible, real life IRL.
lunch?
IRL. Chip
hip with the
lunch.
kids.
He enjoyed having pretty much his own box of chips with no chicken salt because you were very accommodating. But now he's discovered that he likes chicken salt.
Yeah, because it's excellent.
Isn't it?
It's the best. And particularly the crispier the chips, you are totally right. The crispier the chips, the more quality. The combo tastes.
Yeah, I reckon I enjoy chicken salt more when
Yeah.
the chips are crispier.
Yeah, it actually is
Soggy
fully...
chips. Just
Oh, well, you haven't heard Wang's episode because Wang said he likes them cold and will sometimes put them in the fridge. It's wild.
oh, well.
I go away for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh,
and we get
goodness
these
gracious me.
Wild.
wild people from Ride.
That is wild.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
like, I like ordering, I think he said he likes ordering McDonald's and bringing it home and then eating the chips that have gone.
And I've never been a day after chip person either. Like
Yeah.
Oh,
I know
no,
people
no
do that.
way.
but
No way.
Who does
no,
that?
no amount
No
of chicken
way.
salt can.
Those people should be locked up. Goodness me.
They exist. They exist.
There is a reason they're called hot chips, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think we should lock Wang up.
No, he's
I'll
great.
let him have that.
Yeah, you should let him off.
Well, people can change, obviously.
That's true. Exactly right.
People-
Maybe
Josh is an
you just
example.
need to be educated.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we'll pray for Wang. Okay, so yeah, it's crispy, chicken salt, no sauce.
No sauce.
Why is there no sauce?
Well, they make it soggy.
This is true.
Oh, so you're really against the sogginess.
So against the soggy.
Mm-hmm.
will you dip it?
And
Will
the
you dip chip in the?
smaller and crispier, the better. No.
Because that doesn't make it soggy though.
I also don't like the mixture of hot and cold. I will not have ice cream on apple pie.
Oh, okay. So this is interesting.
I've tried hot chips in ice cream.
That's good.
See,
though.
I'm the
doesn't
other end.
surprise
I'm
me.
the other end of that
But
spectrum.
it's like a salt and sweet.
it's
and
so
cold.
good.
Yeah, it's pretty
so
good.
good.
But it will melt the like you have to dip it in the ice cream.
Yeah, yeah,
Otherwise, it will
yeah.
melt the ice
Yeah.
cream.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't have.
Yeah.
Or make the chips soggy. I think the ice cream is usually more powerful than the chips.
Yeah, well, that's something we were talking about with Louisa last week. Was that she's saying that because she spent 6 months in Canada, she liked poutine, which is hot chips with. It's a French word. Thank you.
Doesn't that mean
Okay.
chicken?
No, that's
Poulet? Anyway, keep
pol-
going.
polo is chicken in Italian.
Yeah, right.
I said it's
pom-
so
pommes.
Australian.
Pommes frites.
Pommes?
Something.
Sounds like a pumice stone.
It's poulet.
Yeah.
Poulet.
Okay.
Mm.
Chicken poutine, or not chicken. It's got me say chicken now. Poutine is hot chips
Yep.
with, I think, cheese curds
Oh.
and gravy. That's what it is.
What?
And apparently, it's really
No.
good when you first have it, but then it turns into a big soupy
Yeah.
mess.
Soggy.
That sounds about right.
But Braden is a big fan, and him and Louisa were talking about it for ages because they're like they both had this shared joy of poutine.
Excellent.
Yep.
Fashion.
Poutine, I don't know.
Anyway,
That's how you
anyway.
have to say it. Yeah.
Just go with poutine.
Yeah. Okay.
The next question that we like to ask on the Chip Lunch podcast is, Kate, how did you become a Christian?
Oh, well, I grew up in a Bible-believing Christian family. So God has always been a part of my life. I, at some point, realised that maybe I needed to make it my own. And because I was sort of going through a stage in primary school of, well, it would have been late primary school, sort of pretending I was asleep, and then so I didn't need to go to church and Sunday school.
Oh.
So
I thought you were just at random.
just random, just
nice school.
Standing
Driving.
up.
see, I'm really good. Do it again.
Yeah, wasn't bad. I was
That was
convinced.
amazing.
Yeah.
I was completely
See
sure.
it, yeah. So yeah, Mum and Dad would drive off, and then I'd go, yes, I've got the house to myself, home. And I was going to Gymea People's Church, a girls' club there with some friends, and I remember hearing a talk. Don't know what it was on, but I remember thinking, I need to pray that prayer and recommit, or officially give Jesus my life. So I did that, and then I didn't tell anyone. And then the next week, I went back on the Friday afternoon or whatever, and we split up into little groups. And one of the leaders said to someone else who she was sort of explaining that Jesus, the gospel to, said, Kate prayed that prayer last week. I'm like, what?
Shh, don't tell it.
But I didn't tell anyone. And
Wow.
I really felt that God had, you know, it was a real moment in my life where I was like, well, God saw it.
Yeah.
And he, you know, did what he needed to do to make it really real for me. I was like, okay, cool. Yep, I did. So, yeah, that was one moment. I mean, I think I've had a few moments where I've sort of had to rethink, am I just along for the ride or am I fully in this? And where I've regrouped and gone, yeah, no, I'm in this. So, yeah, but that's, and then another moment was at SALT.
Mm-hmm. Which is the year 7 and 8 group at Guymer Anglican.
That's right. And
a while back.
Oh, it was a while back, yes. I was in year 7 or 8.
So what, 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh, what?
10 years ago. And Louise Crosher was doing a talk.
Oh, what a legend.
Your mother.
What a
And I
legend.
do remember what that talk was on. It was about heaven and what it was going to be like, and also about missing out on heaven. And it really tapped into my massive FOMO in that I really didn't want to miss out on heaven. So that was another point where I really went, yes, no, end goal, I'm there. So yeah, that's and then I've been coming along to Guymer Anglican Soul Revival Church ever since, and yeah, it's been great.
When, I really like that story. You're saying that God, you didn't tell anyone.
Yeah.
And I think this is why we do the podcast, is to get these kind of stories, because that's a story we've never had on this podcast before, which is really lovely. And it's also something like yours, but also the similarities, I think, is you came from a Christian family, but there's a point where you've got to take it on for yourself. And there's a lot of people that we've had on podcasts have been, that are from a Christian family, have said the same thing as well, which is interesting. What do you think changed for you in those moments? Like, even at that time at the People's Church, like what was different after you had prayed the prayer and not told anyone? But even for you, did you feel like, oh, now, like, if you've taken it on yourself, what did you think differently about?
I got up on Sunday mornings and went to Sunday school.
Oh, no more pretending
No
to
more
sleep.
pretending to sleep.
Okay.
It's commitment. That's what that is.
So much commitment. Yeah. I, somewhere around that time, the late primary school, early high school, I started reading the Bible a bit more for myself, and just sort of trying to be a bit more confident in my faith in terms of at school being a Christian and people knowing that I was Christian and that's who I was, and if they, they could take that the way they wanted to, and not being wavered by what other people thought that meant or what I should do or anything like that. So, yeah, just, I guess, so I went to Guymer Bay and then Kirrawee High. I think I was in year 7 around, what year would have it been? I think it was 92 that I was year 7. So, that was the start of the big movement. But I was on the young side. So looking up to all these people who were, in my eyes, looked really cool and were Christian, I guess I had a bit of an easier road. But still, there was people that didn't agree with being a Christian. I remember going to ISCF, or Inter-School Christian Fellowship, with my one other friend who I'm pretty sure I dragged along. But we were the only two there, that kind of thing. So, yeah, just stuff like that. But
I think there's a photo around here of you in high school, actually, on the background.
really?
Somewhere, yeah, of Stu. Yeah, up here. This one up here.
Oh, wow.
Of Stu doing a talk. You're right at the front,
Sounds like me.
which is kind of cool. I think you're a little bit older than year 7, though. But that's a good example of, like, you being more confident and at least going, I'm going to this group.
Yeah.
at
And there's a few
lunchtime.
more, and there's a few more than 2 people at that ICF.
Yes, there is.
Yes. So I mean, Stu didn't do, I don't remember it being Stu that did ISCF. Maybe it was, but I don't think so. But anyway, yeah, so I think they coexisted, Chip Lunch
right. I
and
see. Yes,
ISCF.
yes.
So I was trying to support the other one as well. Definitely went to Chip Lunch. But
At least think it's you at the front. Want to identify yourself there. It's like, is this you?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's me. Wow.
Pretty cool photo.
Oh, yeah,
actually.
that's Kath Agren.
Oh.
And yeah, I don't know.
What age were you there, do you reckon? Like what year?
Well, I'm wearing junior shorts.
Oh, okay. Is that a thing at Kirrawee, is it?
Yeah. There was the different colours. You get to 11 and 12 and you swap.
Change
I didn't
uniform.
have that in my
Yep.
school. We were probably too not fancy enough or something.
No fancy pants for you.
Well played.
My fancy pants were underneath my shorts.
Just for your enjoyment.
That's right.
So I reckon, well, between year 8 and year 10, because Kath's a year younger than me, so she was also in junior pen. Yeah,
You also mentioned FOMO though. What you brought that up, which is interesting. What's the deal with that? Is that been a story of your life? Has it?
Oh yeah.
What?
I don't want to miss out on any fun.
That's why it took me so long to get you on this podcast.
No comment.
She's only here because now she feels like she's missing out on the fun. It wasn't fun up until the last few weeks.
You can take that how you like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always been there to the last minute, there as soon as I can. Actually, so with the Wednesday afternoon hangouts now at South Village for the high schoolers, I now watch my kids race home from school in this flurry of activity. Josh is like...
I can't wait to get back out there.
Yeah,
today.
like doing all the things that they need to do, ticking off all the boxes, grabbing their bikes and working out how long they can stay and what's the very last minute they can leave at and still do the other things that they want to do.
Yeah.
But it just reminds me of me. You know, that was me. I was so excited to hang out with Solies and with your dad, and then, you know, now it's the next generation that can't wait to get out the door to hang out with everyone, which is really nice to see. But yeah, no, FOMO. I think I did a talk at Rev one time that I think Rona still remembers more than I do, but about how you like your toast. And
Awesome.
it was about, I don't even remember the point, but she remembered. Maybe get Rona on and she can tell you what my talk was on. But I have peanut butter and honey because I can't choose, because I don't want to miss out on the sweetness or the nuttiness. But I think in terms of faith, I want to be in heaven. I don't want to miss out on the joy of that. And in terms of fellowship, I really want to be here and fellowshipping with fellow brothers and sisters and not want to miss out on any of that either.
I'm just wondering where it comes from, because does that make you you saying that, like with the honey and the peanut butter, does that mean you're indecisive a lot of the time?
Oh yeah.
But also, I think does that mean you like being in social situations a lot? Like you don't want to miss out on that?
Yeah. I don't know. Whenever I do those personality tests, I get a mixture of like introvert and extrovert and decisive and indecisive, and I'm polar opposites on all these different answers, and then they don't know what to do with it. So it's very difficult to answer all those questions. But yeah, I don't know.
Your mum and dad like that? It's like, is one really
Yeah,
indecisive? Are they the polar opposites?
No, they're probably both pretty decisive, I would think.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't know where I came from.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, so where did we get up to?
You were at like halfway through high school. You had just heard a talk from my mum
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
about heaven. What happened next?
What happened next? So went through Rev, which was for year 9 and 10.
Yep.
And finally got to go to Solies in year 11. So I was always...
Finally. So
Finally.
there's the FOMO again.
Yeah, well, yes.
When am I going?
Yes. So I was from a Christian family, as I've mentioned, but that meant that I was safe, both in my home and in my faith, which meant that I wasn't allowed to go to groups that I wasn't old enough for, both from my parents and the leaders, which is fair enough and fine. But other peers of mine were, because they were not safe in either their faith or their home. So if they weren't at Soli's when they were in year 8, they could have been out doing whatever. So I was very jealous of that.
Because you're like, I've followed all the rules.
I've followed all the rules.
And why can't I do it?
And also part of it was like each group kind of wanted to make it so you wanted to get to the next one. Like,
yes.
And Soli's was the end of it. Soli's was the hype, and that's where all the leaders were hanging out, and that's where all the excitement was. And
and
so
I just wanted to get there and hang out
fully
with all the leaders that I hung out with on Friday night and were my friends, and I wanted to go on Saturday night.
Yeah.
So yes, I finally got to Soli's.
Yes.
4th term year 10.
Yes.
So I guess in terms of my faith and my walk, I was also very involved in the school band at the time.
Oh, what instrument did you play?
Oh, it's one of my favourite questions,
Tuba?
Joel. Close.
Oh, what is it? Brass. So that's brass then.
Trombone.
Oh.
excellent.
So I always loved it because my brother played the trumpet. We were in the band together, and I loved how people would come and say, "Oh, Ryan plays the trumpet. Kate plays the trumpet." So loved that. Might be why
We need that clip.
Oh, that's awesome.
I don't play anymore. Anyway.
Don't play anymore. Does that mean you want to play, but you just can't? You just don't want to do it?
I have no interest
I just
in
can,
playing
like
anymore.
I can just imagine your husband Rob just loving that. You just like in the morning.
Just in the morning.
Rob's pretending to sleep instead.
Wake everyone up with some
Is the alarm.
trombone ballad. Occasional last post when the date
I just keep
calls
thinking
for
the
it.
last post.
The trombone.
Yeah, no.
No.
So it was a means to an ends. I wanted to get into a particular band, the one that my brother was in, and I could tell that he was going to have lots of fun in the band, including going overseas on trips and stuff like that. So I played instruments, but they were not instruments that would get me into that band. Right. So I changed and learnt to play the trombone because there was a lack of trombonists in the band. I can't fathom why. But I did, and I got in, and so with the band I travelled around Australia, or not around Australia, but to different parts of Australia, but also to South Africa
really cool.
when I was in year 10, and it was cool. But it also meant I was exposed to other, parts that I was pretty sheltered. Still am. But, and it made me realise how genuine and lovely the friendships I had within the church were. And it really solidified that thought that this is where I want to be. I don't want to be outside of that. There's a place for working and all that kind of stuff outside of the church, but I wanted my strong friendships to come from the people that I led with and ministered with and shared a faith with. So they were all good experiences to come to that understanding.
What were the things that made you realise that you wanted to be part of that Christian community? Was this like a particular event? Did you throw a trombone slide into the crowd or something? Close.
No.
What?
I don't think there was an event. It was just a vibe there's always the banter that goes on, and I love the banter, that's fine. But then I think in those circumstances, I didn't feel protected or loved or safe like I did in the church groups. Whereas, I knew that however much banter went on and ribbing or whatever, there was always followed up with, you're okay, we're good, we're friends. I love this about you, that kind of thing. Whereas there was none of that. So I just really felt, oh, this is genuine. This is healthy and positive, whereas this is not helpful. And I don't feel like this is where I want to spend the time in my life. So I was happy to do it for the music and the travel and all that, but not as a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Not a travelling musician.
Not a travelling musician.
What's your favourite song to play on trombone?
Oh, do you know I have a CD?
Of you?
Not me, but I do have a solo.
Oh.
Securely High Stage Band produced as a compact disc.
Wow.
And I
How
think my
good.
mum and dad probably still have around 30 to 50 copies.
It's like the Soul Revival CD. 30 to 50 copies. What they're like, well, clean them out. We're just buying them all.
Oh, no, they weren't sold. They're the leftovers.
Oh, right.
They were gifted.
Excellent.
Do they
Favorite?
really have all 30 to 50
I don't
copies? Surely they could just get
Surely
one.
not. They've moved house. Surely they didn't move the CDs with them. I don't know.
They're like, maybe these
I
all...
just feel like it came up in conversation
They're like, these all
recently. though.
appreciate in value.
They will.
They might. Yeah. Maybe they should digitise them.
Yeah, favourite song.
Favourite song? Don't know. I mean, I haven't played it since year 12, 10 years ago.
Kirrawee a performing arts high school, though, isn't it? Which is why they...
No.
Is it performing? No, that's Port Hacking.
Used to be languages,
Yeah.
but now it's nothing. Now
Yeah,
it's just
a high school.
measure by achievement.
Something like that.
Just trying to be awesome at
Just
everything.
freaking
Just be the best at
achieve.
everything.
Whatever you are
Just
good at,
achieve.
do it.
Just achieve it.
And play water polo.
Water polo.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that a big thing at Kirrawee?
Huge.
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 There's
I
no
can't
pool
swim, so I
there.
never cared.
Like, you won't drown, though, right?
Oh, no. I can swim. I can't swim well.
But
I'm
you
just-
can't egg beat
I
it.
can't, yeah. I can't.
Oh, can't you?
I'm not, like, I can't float.
Darby decided at watching the Olympics that she wants to play water polo.
Really?
Yes. Hence the swimming lessons.
There you go. Very cool.
Thought it was a good start.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I don't know what it was about it, but she
It's a
liked
cool
it.
sport.
Yeah.
It's
Anyway,
brutal.
it is.
It's
It's super
real
brutal.
violent.
Yeah, it's
Well,
super
when you
violent.
watch it in the Olympics, I'm
Yeah,
not saying that Darby's age, your daughter's age, that it'll be as violent, but it's tiring.
It's-
Have you ever
yeah.
played it?
Super
Yes.
intense.
Oh my god.
Yes, at Kirrawee
It's
High. I played water polo.
Hey, there we go.
It's
Very
so tiring.
Yeah. You don't get to stand up.
No, you have to float the whole time. You would be in trouble. You
That's,
might drown.
that's why I
You
couldn't
might
have
actually
died.
drown.
I would might
Maybe
probably
you could touch
drown.
the ground though.
Yeah, I might be able to touch the ground. Oh yeah, but I don't know.
You get, what are the rules? Are you allowed to?
I haven't
know.
played.
I haven't played.
I can't float.
He's just like, what? Is it? Everyone's like, why does that kid keep pin dropping down to the bottom of the pool?
Just having a rest. Doing those ones on the bottom of the pool.
He was holding his breath and just like slumping at the bottom.
That's the thing, though. The water polo pools are really deep
They're really
as well.
deep. I
They
think
are.
for that same reason.
I remember
It's like we don't want you to
I
stop.
only did water polo for school sport,
Yeah.
and I was so stuffed
Stuff.
after every. And I think we only played for 20 minutes, and I can swim.
Mm.
I can swim, right?
Yeah.
Age champion at my primary school. every year at primary school.
Every
Yeah.
year.
bring
And-
as much as we
yeah.
can.
Yes, because we brought it up before.
Oh,
Swimming
Yeah.
and athletics. I was
Mm.
age champion.
overachiever.
That's
Should
it.
have gone to
Should've gone
Kirrawee.
to
Should've got a
Kirrawee.
Kirrawee. Yeah, you would have been fine.
Measure me, my
Measured by-
achievement.
Measured by achievement.
Okay, let's go back to the.
Yeah, what
Okay.
happened next after the trombone and the water polo and the Solis, which is year 11 and 12? What did getting finally into that space? What did that look like for your from a ministry perspective, from a relationship perspective? Was that like an exciting thing? Was it?
Oh, it was so exciting.
What kind of stuff did you do?
So exciting.
These are so exciting.
Oh, well, like week away, magical mystery tours, dance parties at St. Tim's. What else? And so I was leading with Rob, my now husband, and
The way you said that.
Jimmy and Rosie.
Yep. Oh, Jimmy and Rosie.
Yep. And we were, I'm pretty sure, although memory is fickle, so someone might disagree, we were one of the first years that followed through. So when that all started, the discipleship philosophy of following your crew through. We were the year 7 and 8 leaders, so we were the first ones that sort of took a group the whole way through.
It's my year.
cool.
Your year,
Mm.
yes. So yeah, I was your year leader,
Yeah.
and Rob was the year above, and Jimmy and Rosie were both with me in our year. So, and the way, because it was, you went up year by year, and so after year 8, Rob's group went up to Rev, and then we got a new group for year 7, so that was Sam Eads, and can't remember who else, but like what I've found is even now, they're some of my strongest friendships, those people that we led with, and I really think the value of friendships in ministry is invaluable.
Yeah. I think you would find that we would both agree very strongly.
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, so it's beautiful and comes back to what I was saying about that the friendships are genuine, you're working towards a common goal, you're aligned on the faith thing, which means you can get closer, I think, which is beautiful.
It's really cool.
And it makes a difference, doesn't it? I mean, some of the parts of your story are like quite similar to mine. Is that, well, I didn't come from a Christian family though, but I just want to go back to being in the Christian community, like what I'm experiencing at school or whatever. It's just like, it's waning. I think that's how I felt about it. It's like, there feels like there's something more. And then I got involved in leading, because you led my wife, Karen, because we were in the same
I
year.
did.
And then you were leading my year as well, in a sense. But also, I think it's interesting that you say that year was the year that went all the way through, because even though I didn't go back straight away, when I started leading 2 years later, I think that obviously had an impact on me. And I've only just realised that now, since you said that then, was that we were like, oh no, we have to do it all the way through.
Yeah.
And we got almost there, but then we left the church. But I think that's really, it's extremely valuable. I'm just backing up what you're saying, because it's makes a big difference. And then you can also see that happening in your kids. Like,
Yeah.
you're saying they can't wait to go out and hang out on a Wednesday arvo. Like, it's the same thing. So
Totally is.
yeah, it's really cool. So you're talking about finishing school. I'm just interested in, like, we talk about career as well. You left school in year 12, I'm guessing.
Yes.
What were you planning? Did you have a plan? What you were planning to do?
Yes. I knew I wanted to be a graphic designer.
Mm-hmm.
I've wanted to be a graphic designer for a long time, even though I didn't know what it was called. I wanted to do the patterns on wrapping paper. So I went
That's
to...
such a cool goal.
Yeah.
It was like,
And so cool, because later on,
I love that. Yes,
we'll talk about it, but later on in
Stay
your life.
tuned.
Oh yeah.
So I went to university at Wollongong. Hung out on the
Represent.
duck pond
That's it.
lawn.
Actually on the pond?
In.
Oh,
No.
in the pond with the ducks.
Floating, playing water polo.
Well, you were.
with the ducks. Yeah, I wasn't there.
So did a really cushy 3-year course that I went, maybe 2 to 3 days a week.
Easy.
Yeah.
It's the life.
Had a few car accidents on the way down Mount Ousley Road.
goodness.
Got to the point where, like, if I woke up and it was raining, it was a family decision that I didn't go to uni that day.
Wow.
It's really cool. Yeah. Did a defensive driving course. That helped a lot. I would strongly recommend defensive driving
Hang
course.
on, I want to dig into this a little bit more. How bad were the accidents to have to go and do that?
Oh, well, actually, I think one of them was on the way to a week away, which then brought in the no P-platers driving rule. Might
Awesome.
have been my fault. But a good rule, that is, really. It's a good one. They were just annoying.
I'm sure I've driven to a week away on P plates. Anyway,
You might have been okay, I don't know, drive yourself, but not other people.
No, I drove other people.
Ooh,
Anyway.
naughty.
I drove 3 other people.
Rule breaker.
Rule breaker. The rules are there to
Shake
be
my
broken.
I'm glad you're...
You just said it was a really good rule.
Yeah, and I'm glad that your children are going to listen to this podcast. They're like, Mum, you said rules are meant to be broken.
One of them could do with hearing that. I'm not going to say which one.
We'll leave that up to you kids to decide who that is.
Flexibility is good. But anyway, yes, so uni was good, was okay.
I want to hear more about the accidents.
I can't remember them. I've erased them. They're gone.
That's what the defensive driving course does. It just
yeah,
modifies your memory.
that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got the train a couple of times.
That's a long trip.
It's long.
Yeah.
It's peaceful.
Quite nice.
Get the sleepy carriage,
Yeah.
and you can just
It's pleasant.
it's pleasant.
Sleepy carriage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the quiet
A
carriage.
quiet carriage.
Oh, the quiet carriage. I thought you said this is a sleeping carriage. This
Well,
one.
It's
Beds.
really
Like
for
how
what
It
it's
is.
for,
It's
isn't
exactly what it's for.
it? Yeah.
What is?
Sleep. The quiet carriage is for sleeping and introversion.
Oh, okay.
You're not allowed to talk.
No.
I understand that, but I thought you were saying instead of the quiet carriage, it was like it's. I mean, it was a while ago, so they actually had a
A while ago.
a
It was a
sleeping
while ago.
carriage. Like the sleeping quarters are down here.
It was 20 years ago.
That's not sleeping quarters on the Wollongong train 20 years
No,
ago.
that was just
Who knows?
quiet.
They
It
used
was
to do
lovely.
weird stuff in the olden days.
In the olden days. They did. This is true.
Was it black and white?
The train was black and white.
The train
Yes.
was black and white.
Everything I saw was black and white.
Here we have Kate getting on the train to Wollongong. Go have a great.
My pinafore.
Yeah, in her pinafore, and here she is. She's going in the sleeping carriage.
Amazing.
And have a great sleep on the way to university, Kate. Go get 'em.
I just pretended though.
Oh
Yeah, of course. Always.
Always. Just pretending.
You're like harking back to the days of pretending. I don't want to go to uni, so you just pretend to go to sleep on the train. Oh, I fell asleep on the train, so you've done a 3-hour train trip with no university.
I did get glandular fever while I was at university.
It's no fun.
From university. But anyway, and I ended up going down with Kath Hagren. She drove me down, and I was exhausted from the drive and slept in the car for the entire time that they were at university, and then they drove me home.
Very good.
Amazing.
That was my first trip back
Yeah.
to uni after having a time off. But anyway, what else do you want to know about university?
Sounds like you don't want to talk about it very much.
I didn't go very much. I made a good friend.
What did you do instead? If you're not going much, what did you do instead?
Oh, we had lots of assignments, so I just did them at home.
Oh,
Like I worked hard-ish. No, I worked hard.
measured by
I just
achievement.
remembered my children will be watching. Worked very hard, late at
Worked so
all
hard.
day, late at night on assignments.
Yeah. Nothing but assignments.
Nothing but assignments.
I found doing a similarly cushy uni degree that I had heaps of time for church stuff. And I know we were just talking about that. And I think that it's cool that ends up being a part of the friendships you make as you're doing ministry together. Like, because you often end up being kind of just spending more time together.
Yes.
Because in uni, you're just like, particularly if you're doing a degree like we did, it's like,
That's true.
Let's muck
So
around
there was a
and hang
group of us that had Mondays off. Rob, Anna Ware. We would hang out on a Monday. We do a lot of Rob's errands, looking back. But sometimes we played tennis and we went to KFC for lunch.
It's very civilized.
that's so good. I love that so much.
Anna and I didn't have errands.
Yeah, that girl's there playing a game of tennis. And now Rob has a few errands to run. Go to the bank, Rob.
That's it. Yeah. We hung out a lot on Mondays, and then I think I had Fridays off. So I ended up doing a lot of prep for Rev or Sod. Well, it would have been Rev by then if followed through. So I remember, going shopping a lot on a Friday for all the food for the nights or setting up the venue and all that kind of stuff. So
Did you do Berea on Friday? No.
never done
Got out of it.
Berea.
You've never done Berea.
I'm not a Berea.
Oh, lucky we're relaunching the course next year.
I know.
And Kate can do it.
Plug.
Well, this free time to just play tennis and have long coffee breaks and...
I didn't drink coffee then.
Oh.
I know. I was a late coffee drinker, but just taking it on board wholeheartedly now.
Dive all the way in now.
Dive all the way in. Yep.
Float.
Teach my son how to make coffee so I don't have to.
Excellent.
Yes.
Goals.
It's the best COVID.
Best outcome of COVID.
Best outcome of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
It was also because we're skipping ahead, but I broke my arm. It was really the worst part of breaking my arm was that I couldn't make a coffee, and I had to rely on other people, on Rob, to make a coffee, and he was very busy. He was
Running errands.
running errands,
running all
running a
errands.
house,
Yep.
working
Back
many hours.
Yep.
So then I needed to have more surgery, and I thought, I'm going to teach Vincent how to make coffee, and he makes a great flat white.
Good on him.
Legend.
Mm-hmm.
Good
He is a
on
legend.
So good. High quality. So you're
He
talking about your family
complains.
a little bit, which is exciting.
Yes.
When
So when did the family happen?
when did that happen?
Well, I'm guessing you got married first.
Yes, got married first. So Rob and I were friends for a long time.
Had Mondays off.
Had Mondays off.
Yes,
Monday
tell the
marriage.
story.
Tell the story. Oh, the story is that I really liked Rob for a long time,
Cute.
but we were just friends, and that was the agreement. And I was wavering from the agreement.
What do you mean the agreement? What does that mean?
No, he didn't feel the same way. And he just regularly checked in that we were still on the same page. I was like, yeah. Totes.
How long? How long was that for?
It felt like forever. I don't know, probably. Well, I mean, so I would have met him when I came up to Soli's.
Yep.
He was already there. My oldest memory of him is walking through the Kirui High playground and saying to we were going to the canteen and we passed these year 10 boys playing handball, year 11 boys, I don't know. Anyway, I said to my friend, oh, that guy shaved his head. That was all.
Amazing. And that guy was.
You'd been paying attention.
That guy was going to be my husband. Little
That's it.
did I know. But anyway, so we were friends, best friends for ages.
Best friend?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're
You're
besties.
right.
They have Mondays off.
Okay.
on Mondays.
No, I'm just checking. I didn't know I heard that. That's why I was
Oh,
saying.
yeah.
Yeah.
No. We were very good friends, best friends. And then I may have had a relationship with someone else
Mm-hmm.
who dumped me like a sack of potatoes. And
I love that saying so much.
because how else do you
Yeah.
dump some
Yeah,
potatoes
yeah.
or a sack? They're very heavy.
They're
Yeah.
very heavy. You just got to.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, this is more his story than mine, but
Okay.
he was thinking, oh, I'm really sad for Kato, matey, because we were mateys.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was the phrase. You're my matey.
Mm-hmm.
She needs someone nice. She deserves something nice. And then after a while, he thought, well, maybe I could be someone nice. And then the rest is history.
There you go.
Mhm.
Fantastic.
Lucky we talk about the history on Chip Lunch. So then, how long until you got married?
Well, so we went out. We were boyfriend, girlfriend for a while, maybe a year. And then just after my 21st birthday, it was actually September 11th.
Oh,
Like
wow.
Really?
the September 11th.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
He dumped me like a sack of potatoes.
Oh my goodness.
And we had a break, which we,
This episode's going to be called Potatoes.
well, I am Kato potato.
Kato.
That's what it's going to be. And it definitely is.
That's so good.
The potato episode.
The potato episode.
Yes, so total devastation. And we affectionately call that period the void.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
When was that?
How
That was
long did
during
the-
the void.
How long did the void last for?
I think the void was a year.
Oh, wow. Another year.
Yeah, another
Damn.
year.
Still besties, but like not.
No, surely not after a
Not
potato.
post-potato.
A potato.
Potato level-
episode.
potato level
still,
dumping.
Still, it was difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but anyway.
It was the
don't
void.
know how
It was the
it's
void. We don't talk about the
It's
void.
fine. It's
We
fine.
don't talk about the
Just
void.
tell us. The void was difficult.
The void was difficult.
Yeah.
And
I
then
understand that it would be difficult.
yeah, and then after a year, he and I think he wanted to know. He wanted to be sure, so gave himself a year to be sure.
Tumultuous? Would you say
When-
that, did you say
no, I
that
was
the
like-
void would be tumultuous?
It was tumultuous.
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 Speaking of words, it is trombonist. I just checked.
Oh,
before,
thank you.
But yeah, back there. But it was tumultuous. Anyway, but then you got back together.
I was just wondering if I was a tumultuous trombonist.
Oh,
No?
We in the void playing trombone still? No, probably not.
No.
No. Well, then
No.
then no.
No. So yeah, the void. And then when we decided to get back together, it was to get married. So
Wow.
we'd done our thinking. We were sure.
Mm-hmm.
So then we were, I think it was just 6 months until we got married.
Awesome.
I should maybe a little tasty or interesting side
hot
note.
goss.
Hot goss. It's not hot goss because it's mine to tell. Is that when we got back together, the deal was that when I was ready to get married, I was to propose.
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
Damn. That's awesome.
Of your making or his making?
Well, our making sort of, because he said, I'm ready. You want to get engaged?
You
I
wanna
was
get
like,
married, yeah,
no,
right.
I'm not ready yet.
Yeah.
Like, you've only just picked me up off the floor.
Yeah.
I'm not ready yet.
Or you're about to put the potatoes in the oven.
I want to have some fun before committing again. Although I totally agree that this is the plan, the end goal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did the proposing.
That's exciting. Did you like drop on one knee and everything?
I went round and woke him up really early.
Yeah.
With a trombone?
Not with a trombone, no last post at the window.
Bummer.
No. So he
Missed
was in the
opportunity.
house that we're in now.
Mm-hmm.
I knocked on his window and we drove to Lillipilly to watch the sunrise. Now it was a bit drizzly, so we just watched the clouds get a little bit lighter. It's a little bit disappointing.
That's such a bummer.
Hopefully not an omen. And we had a picnic. I had bought 3 succulents, like 3 pots with cacti in them,
Yeah.
and gave them to him as a representation of our love that was 3 parts, like us and God, and that. And
Prickly.
And it didn't need much.
and prickly.
And didn't need much water.
Yeah, and hopefully survived,
Yeah.
which they didn't.
Oh, what a
But
bummer.
I also made him a pillowcase with about
It's so random. I love that so much.
50 pictures of me, my face,
No way.
so he could get used to waking up next to Hot tip.
I didn't know.
That's so good.
Yep,
Do you still have it?
I think so.
He still sleeps on it.
It's not really. Is it
so
really something you
amazing.
throw away? The plants
No, you
died.
definitely don't
It
throw
was
that
not
away.
a sunrise to be memorable. Do you throw out the pillowcase? The one thing that might have actually worked.
So funny.
How do you have 50 different photos of yourself?
How do you not?
No, there's no way I have
You
50
definitely
photos
would.
of
Oh,
myself.
come
You definitely
on.
would.
No.
You just pulled out one from year 8.
Yeah, I'm not in any of these photos from you.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying.
Poor
You
girl.
are. I don't care.
Greaves is.
Oh, yeah, well,
There's 3 Greaves in here at least
Yeah.
for the same photo.
Oh
Oh,
my gosh,
that's
that is
so
so
funny.
funny.
Oh, that's so
I'd be
funny.
so funny if you
I'm
still,
crying.
still
I'm
slept on
crying.
He never
Alright.
slept on it. It was a bit. It wasn't very. It was crinkly. It wasn't
He's
very-
like, good night, my darling. It's like an advent calendar. And what will you be revealing with me
so
tonight,
funny.
darling? Mwah. And then like it opens, it's like, I love you.
Oh, that's way better than a ring. That's so
That
funny.
is so good.
Oh my goodness, that's funny.
Yeah.
The engagement pillowcase.
Oh,
That's really funny.
Oh,
And then,
the
is that
Oh,
all you
and
gave
then
him?
I can't remember anything else. Yeah, I think that's all I gave him.
no, that's great. That's awesome.
So my ring came from his family. It's a Jones family heirloom.
Oh, that's
Mm.
lovely.
So then he rang his mum that morning and said, "Mum, can you clean the ring?" And then
Get the ring cleaned, Mum.
we went over and picked it up.
That's so nice.
Yeah, it is. It's 100 years old. Well, it's more than that now.
Wow.
It was 100 years old when we got
Have you
married.
got
That's
it on?
so cool. No.
No.
Did you lose it?
No,
No, you
I
wanted
have a
to-
tat.
You have the tattoo. Can you tell the tattoo story?
Yes. So Rob wanted to get a tattoo on ring finger because he works in refineries and can't wear a ring all the time, but wanted to still be married.
Fair enough.
Or show that he's married.
Show that he's
Like,
married.
you don't-
That's right.
like,
Yes, you're
if
not
I do this
not
and take my
married.
ring off, it's like, oh, I'm unmarried.
Yeah. So we got tattoos for our first year anniversary because we were paper to each other's names.
Oh.
First year is paper for those playing along.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
So that's what we did. There's not much
very
fat
cute.
on your finger. It
I was going
really,
to say, did that hurt?
really hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was there
That
a
would have not been fun at
specific
all.
design?
Oh, can't you tell that says Rob?
That's why I asked the question.
Could be blob.
Blob.
Needs some moisturiser, and it wasn't a very fine needle, so
Yeah, right.
kind of didn't.
Do you reckon it would have
Don't
hurt
say well.
more if it was a fine needle or not?
I don't know.
I'm asking questions because I'm thinking about getting a tattoo.
What are you
It's
going to
good
get?
I want to get my kids' names,
Oh, that's cute.
but I don't know.
On your fingers?
Yeah.
It's like,
I'll
On your-
need to,
on
I'll
your
need to have
knuckles.
one
More than-
more.
L-E-R.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have
But
to
I
have
think
one
I
more.
want to get.
Blur.
I think I'd probably like do a bit more hidden, maybe on the inside of.
I reckon that'd
Bicep.
hurt.
Yeah, I think that would hurt too. Yeah, I'll need to get a bit more jacked, and then we can
Be
do it.
tender under there.
Mm.
Anyway, yeah.
So actually, I think your wedding was the first Soul Revival wedding I went to.
Oh,
Thank you.
actually,
Thank you for inviting me.
I think you both were there.
was I?
Yeah, Ethan might have been
That's
there.
so exciting.
Yes.
That's very cool.
Reception was in Parramatta. I
The
remember.
reception was in Parramatta.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we had a few ideas. We really wanted to include everyone.
Mm.
Yes. I was surprised I got invited. I think.
Really?
Oh, only just because like you don't have to. I didn't feel like you were obliged to invite me to your wedding.
I did. I felt I was there. And I
Yes,
was
you
like,
can't
I
even
needed to be
remember
here.
being
I
there.
needed to be.
You're a Soul Revival
What year was it?
original baby.
04.
Yeah.
Last year of high school for me.
Would have been running around.
Yeah, I think you and my cousin had twin babies. I think you were the three
Hectic.
kids.
That's such a
The
party.
way you said that, it sounded like Ethan and your cousin had twins.
Yeah, no, we didn't.
Just
I
to
was like-
clarify, no,
No.
that is not the case.
Mm.
No.
Yes. They were the three kids there.
Lovely.
Yeah, we just, well, as I said, like ministry and the people we ministered to, like they are, like you are, our friends still. And that was important to us to include as many people who we spent our lives with there. We didn't really want to cut anyone out. I mean, I know that in some ways made some people not feel special because
Really?
so many people were invited.
Mm.
But I've always struggled with, I've always wanted to be inclusive, and birthday parties are a struggle for me because I don't know where to make the cut.
Mm-hmm.
You got to make it somewhere. But
Yeah.
so we chose a venue that would fit a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
We are not huge dancers, so we didn't have a dance floor, so we could fit more tables. But we had entertainment on the lawn,
Yes,
bocce,
you did. Yep.
things like
Lovely.
that.
That's really cool.
Well, we had photos, so
Well, it's because you included me. I felt special. I still remember it.
Great.
I still remember sitting there watching the speeches. So
they went for a while.
yeah, I think that might be why.
It's probably, well, it was a large chunk, but
Yeah. That's okay. That's
a
weddings.
lot to be remembered.
That's weddings.
Yeah.
So
Did
you
they bring up the
married.
pillowcase at the?
Did I have the
Oh.
pillowcase?
Was it brought up
Oh,
in
it would
the
have been
speeches?
packed for
She
the
had a-
honeymoon, I'm sure.
No, but like, was it talked about?
She had it as a veil.
I don't remember if the pillowcase was mentioned in the speeches.
I think
Why was it-
pillowcase
yes,
is the funniest
it's the
thing I've
best.
ever heard of.
Can you
It's
get a
so
photo of
good.
it?
Yeah.
Please
Is
find
it stuffed full of Kirawee High School bands?
It's potatoes. It's just filled with potatoes.
Oh, potatoes.
Potatoes.
Put all my memories
Yeah,
in
I'm
here.
pretty sure it's still in the linen press.
Awesome.
I think you might need to take a photo and put it up on the
Yeah.
on the YouTube
Oh,
Okay.
please.
on the YouTube episode.
Please.
Okay, so well done on getting married.
Thank you.
Where did you honeymoon? Oh, you went somewhere nice.
We went to the Maldives.
Yes, I would have like to go on the mountain.
It was
dive.
amazing. Had a little hut over the water.
That's so cool.
Gorgeous.
There was tiny little sharks, like this big, that swam all around while you were walking across the
Awesome.
jetty to get to your little hut. It was very
That's so
cool.
good.
It was lovely.
So now you
Now.
have 3 children.
We have 3 children.
Excellent.
Yes.
Tell us about your 3 children.
So we have Josh, who has just turned 14.
My gosh, he's 14.
He is 14 and growing daily.
Like all of us.
Yes. Yeah.
Might not be physically.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah. No, he's just turning into a man before our eyes. And yeah, he's pretty cool. He's lots of fun. And then we have Vinny, who there's just a year and a half between them. And he is also crazy fun. And he's having a lot of fun coming along to youth with his mates.
It's really cool.
And then we have Darby, who's 8. So, yeah, Josh's birthday was just recently, and I told him that he might need to get up a bit earlier before school because we might have a few things to do. And he was joking around saying, "Oh, really? What do we have to do?" And I said, "Well, I don't know if you realise, but tomorrow's a special day for Dad and I because it's the 14th anniversary of us becoming parents, and you might need to make us a coffee, and you might need to make us breakfast, and just, we might need to have a little relax."
And I need a pillowcase with your face on it.
Pillowcase with your face on it. Like, you might think this day's all about you, but, it's not really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. That's so funny.
Yeah, but he's good. He can take a joke like that.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. So we had Josh 4 years after we were married, I think, which was a good time. I sort of, as much as I have FOMO, I also am not great with change. So I struggled to sort of think about what life would be like with kids and embrace that. And, I was enjoying what we were doing. Do we want to change that just yet? Like, yes, I want children, but so I was I'm always playing catch up, sort of getting on board. It's usually Rob that's the instigator, but fully on board.
You would recommend?
Well, God willing.
Yeah.
It's incredibly difficult as well. There's times where I think, oh my goodness, we're just flying by the seat of our pants, making this up. This is just crazy. But most of the time it's pretty good. They're good kids.
What's it like being a Christian parent?
Oh, can you tell in part of this? Can you tell that story about Josh and the devices? But
Yes.
Answer the question first.
It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm pretty strict sometimes in terms of what they watch and what they listen to and what they're allowed to do.
What's your thinking behind that? Just to understand it.
Part of it is just that I think you're only a kid for so long, and there's no reason to rush out of that, and enjoy being innocent and have fun and not worry about the pressures or just being aware of all the crap that goes on. So we don't let them watch M movies yet. All their friends do. They manage that differently. Josh is quite persuasive, it seems, with his mates. So they were all going to go see an M movie one day with these vouchers that they won at a trivia night on camp. And then he persuaded them that, no, you don't want to go see the Marvel movie, that he hasn't seen any of the other Marvel movies. So why do you come in at the end almost? No, you don't really want to see that at 4:00 on a Saturday afternoon. You want to see Sonic at 8:30 on a Saturday afternoon because that's when I'm free. And they all did.
So good.
And
You say 8:30 on a Saturday afternoon?
oh, sorry,
8:30 at night?
8:30 in the morning.
Okay, even better. I like it.
Absolute legend.
Yeah.
That is.
So
that
they
is
all went to
powerful.
Well
see
done.
Sonic
That's the best.
because that was A, movie he could see, and B, a time that he was available because he was busy other times. Whereas Vinny's mates come to me. They give me a hard time
Yeah,
about
right.
Vinny not being able to watch things. We have a carpool WhatsApp group for youth. So when it's my turn to pick them all up or drop them all home, it's why can't Vinny watch this? Why can't Vinny have a phone? Why can't Vinny do this and all that? And so I don't know whether they're giving him that constantly as well, but if they are, he's doing pretty well with it because it's pretty hard. It's like, well, but anyway.
I think there is a bit of a movement against that stuff too, which is interesting. Like, this is a complete conjecture or hearsay, but apparently, like a lot of the guys that have, a lot of the men and women who have worked at places like Facebook and stuff, they all send their children to a school that doesn't use devices.
How funny.
for
Yeah, isn't that
example.
really interesting?
Yeah.
So it's an interesting conversation to have, and
Yeah.
I think we might be coming towards the end of the experimentation phase of when children should be using devices and stuff, and really getting a better idea on that, because they've really been the canary in the coal mine,
Yeah.
so to speak.
For sure.
It's
Yeah.
it's interesting how you also, like, it's another level of being a Christian parent, I think, with that, which is what you're talking about.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess in terms of being a Christian and making those decisions, my decision making is based on their safety, and I don't want them to have as much access as they need or as they would want to the internet and things like that, which is also the same issue as staying a child for as long as you can. But
Does your FOMO make that really hard? Because you wouldn't want, like, if you were in their position, you wouldn't want to be doing that either?
yeah, I mean, as a family, we don't generally get the latest and greatest technology anyway. So we're, as parents, I feel like we're trying to live that. I mean, I have an iPhone and whatever, but you know, I have a iPhone 10X or whatever, and, you know, so that I recently dropped in the toilet, but it still works.
Yeah, I dropped my phone in the toilet the other day.
Just the other day.
What are you guys doing around the toilet?
Oh, it's in my back pocket.
Oh, that happens with girls. Sorry, I feel like a lot of women tell me that's what happens. They put their phone in their back pocket and then...
Thankfully, it was pre anything.
Is it when you're pulling your pants down?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just wondering what else you're doing. Are you handstanding?
No.
I'm just practicing my handstands in the bathroom.
Head flushing.
What is it? What's that called?
Dunny flush.
Yeah, dunny flush.
Dunny flushing,
You're
that's
just
it.
like, so I got this done heaps of me at school. I'm going to see how it was done.
I really miss it. It was great. It's harder to DIY than have someone else do it for
We're
you.
talking about swirlies. Is that what we're talking about?
Swirlies. Is that what you call? Is that what the young kids
That's
call
what
it
I've
these
heard
days?
it called. I don't know. I hadn't called it. I hadn't heard it otherwise. But yeah,
I'm so thankful that I never experienced it.
I've also
it would
never
be
experienced it.
traumatizing.
It'd be horrifying.
It'd be horrible.
It's like I'd buy a bidet instantly. Like never going near a normal toilet
Buy a
again.
bidet
I don't
instantly.
know. I was just trying to find a different
To be
toilet.
dunny flushed in?
No,
or
no,
just-
to just avoid toilets. But bidets are similar, so it doesn't actually. It was not a good joke.
Okay.
The water would be fresher in a bidet.
That's a good point.
There's some
Yeah,
positives.
If I was going to get a swirly, a bidet would be the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. Okay, cool. We've sorted that.
Good work, team.
Yeah. Yes,
Really the
we're
big
back
issues.
to parenting.
Back to parenting. So I told you the other day a story about how the school, someone we knew at the school as a teacher, wellbeing teacher, called us. I went to school with him, so he knew who we were. But called us to ask us how we were managing the no phone situation, because it had been highlighted at the high school that our children were the only two children, or I know of one other in year 7, but I'm pretty sure that Josh is the only year 8 without a phone, and Vinny and his mate are the only 2 in year 7 without a phone. And he wanted to know how we were managing that, because it had also been highlighted by one of Josh's teachers that he was a very well-adjusted and lovely person who could talk to people and engage with people, which is something that they're really struggling with at school, is that people are not talking to each other or engaging. So, yeah, that was one of the times where I thought
that's really
we're just flying by the seat of our pants. We don't really know what we're doing. We're constantly under pressure from them and their mates about them getting phones and whatever. But yeah, it's a challenge, but until we feel like it's the right thing to do.
How does your faith intersect with that? Is it like, are you saying, oh God, just help me figure this out? Or like, how are you having discussions about that with your kids in regards to being a Christian as well?
I guess, like, we pray constantly that we make good decisions, wise decisions. We pray for wisdom for our parenting, for our children. Pray for them that they can make wise decisions for their own lives, and that our actions can then educate them on how they might be able to do that. In terms of talking to them about it, I do find it difficult, because I guess our decision about the phones is more on their, like, it's less faith-based than other things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more about that I just don't think having access to that much technology is beneficial for them. So, like, when we were asked to speak at the PNC, I'm like, oh, I'm not, like, if it was a topic about, Christianity or more along that line, I'd be okay to do that and put ourselves out there in that regard and have the risk of the boys being persecuted for that, rather than get up and say, our kids don't have phones and yours shouldn't either.
Yeah,
and
it's a different vibe.
Really feel like that could be social suicide for them, as opposed to just our decision, not imposing it on other people. But we talk to them about how, as Christians, we're meant to be different, we're called to be different, and I guess the phone device decision is all intertwined in
part of that, yeah,
different ways, but just not a fully tangible thing I can really nail down right now. But yeah.
No, it's fascinating. I mean, like, I'm sure there are probably people listening to this that have the same difficulty sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's getting harder. I think the hard thing at the moment, and it's not to do with faith or anything, but is just that people expect them to have phones. One of Vinny's mums, he was going back to her house one afternoon. She messaged me saying, I'm at an appointment and I might be a bit late. Can you tell Vinny that I'll be late? And I'm thinking, well, I can't tell Vinny because he doesn't have a phone. And when he goes out on a bike ride, he rings me on her son's phone, like, to tell me where he is. So, but teachers expect them to have phones and take pictures of what's on the wall and that. And it's just an adjustment that needs to be made with everyone, especially because the school are talking about cancelling phones at school or something. But spicy.
I feel like they could use, like, how they ban you from having phones at, like, events and stuff like that. Have you ever had the lock bag thing that they put it in? Like, I went to see Chris Rock, the comedian, once, and they're like, you can't film any of this. You put it in your bag, you get it at the end of the show. I was like, maybe they can do something with that with school. Anyway, my question was going to be that
you hear stories about kids bringing two phones.
Two phones?
Two phones. Oh my goodness.
For what?
Oh, they just have a fake one. It's like an old phone that was broken or something. They're like,
I'll
put this one in.
Oh, right.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Oh.
Yeah, okay.
Kids are crafty.
Crafty.
Aren't they?
Crafty people. One of your children, Darby, was born in another country, though.
She was.
Can you tell us why that is?
So we went overseas for a while to kind of do what we do here, over there, just live our lives and share our lives with other people. Yes.
Was that on a whim, or have you been planning to do that for a while?
No, very much planning to do that for a while. In fact, when
Is there a pillowcase involved?
It's similar to a pillowcase.
Oh, what? Yes.
It's not a pillowcase, but it was Rob's gift to me at one point. I can't remember whether it was...
Oh my goodness.
I think it was when we got back together.
Yep.
With the plan to get married.
When you jumped across the void.
When we had navigated the void. He gave me an African violet, which also died. also partly why I'm so hesitant to have children, because I could never keep anything alive. So, but they're all right.
Yeah, they're doing all right.
They are. They get to a point where they can get their own food,
And make you coffee.
and make me coffee. It's great.
Keeping you alive.
So Rob had always wanted to live overseas and intentionally live out his faith over there, somewhere, anywhere. Well, where there was a need.
Mm-hmm.
We just didn't know where that was going to be. And through, different... So Rob changed jobs so that we could get a transfer at some stage, and then in the end got that transfer to another country where he worked. And so we went when Josh was 4 and Vinny was 2.5. And we were there for 4 years. And so Rob worked and I was a housewife, but also just trying to meet people and chat with people, and had the privilege of praying with some people, and so it was great. And then Darby was born over there, which was interesting. Very different experience than having babies here. But it was all right.
What was it like before you went overseas and when you came back? What are the good things? What are the things that were hard?
Although I was on board and I wanted to do it, I was also dragging the chain. Any form I had to fill out took about, I don't know, a month per question.
Yeah, wow.
I just had a lot of anxiety about filling them out, or just going. It was hard on my family, like mum and dad and my brother and family, us going overseas. It's probably the most rebellious thing I've ever done. It was just difficult. We were pretty close. They missed us, we missed them. But, it's harder. I think it's always harder for the people who are left and doing their own, the normal day-to-day without the people they're used to being around than the people that are gone and do something different and sometimes exciting. So the lead up was really difficult. I just found strain on most relationships, and I found that no one's response was okay with me. People were either way too excited that we were going and I was offended by that, or people were way too sad that we were going, and I really struggled with that as well. There was no right response, and that was my issue, not theirs. Everyone's entitled to their own response, but I found it really hard because I was like, I don't want you to be sad because that will make me sad, but I don't want you to be excited because I'm not really very excited at the moment. Like I'm really struggling. So that was hard. The kids were sort of at a good age in that they were okay, like transferable. They didn't, and I guess the people, they hadn't started school, so they hadn't made friends of their own. Their friends were our friends' kids. So they could still keep in contact very easily with those, although Rob and I are pretty pathetic at keeping in contact with anyone. It's just who we are. So anyway, went overseas. Everyone was okay. It was a really good experience. The country we were in was really great for young kids. Love kids, love putting on free events for kids, free jumping castles, free food, free
awesome.
Everything. It was amazing. We were like, when we go back to Australia, they're going to really struggle. When we say, no, you can't go on that, it's like $10 for a minute. But yeah, it was really good. And it was just, I think it was really good for our marriage as well, going over somewhere. I think up until that point, we had relied on my family a lot when anything sort of went wrong. And if I needed help, I'd call Rob and we'd talk about it, and the default was always, let's see what your mum's doing. And we'd call her and she'd be the backup. Going overseas meant that we only had each other, and it really solidified our relationship and made us the team, and we were a team. So that was really good.
It's really cool.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Was it hard coming back to Australia? Sorry, Heath.
I was just going to ask that question.
Yes and no. It was always the plan, 4 years. So despite many people thinking that we'd stay longer, we didn't. We'd promised, and that was what we did. It was hard because we felt like everyone before we went said, 4 years isn't very long. It'll be over before you know it. We're like, 4 years feels so long. But it was. It went so quickly, and actually the friendships that we'd tried to make, we felt like we'd just got a lot of traction in that last year. So then to leave was like, oh, okay, all right. But that's what we're doing. And the job did finish, so could have probably applied for another one, but we came back. And yeah, I feel like coming back was interesting. Like we were back, we were around. Rob was working fly in, fly out, so he wasn't around half the time. I was on my own with the kids for half the time. I just felt like it took a long time also to get on people's radar that we were back. And, you know, when you're just having a casual hangout, just you'd see on social media, oh, those people are hanging out, cool. But that's fun, and that's my FOMO as well. But it was lovely to come back and get our kids back with my brother's kids, and the cousin relationship
Lovely.
Is beautiful, and there's such a, I don't know, they just pick up where they left off, and yeah, it's really lovely. Yeah, so in terms of ministry, it's also been hard to get some traction because of that fly in, fly out. Rob wasn't here for 2 weeks, and then when he was, there was kind of a who gets to go out.
Yeah.
We actually both haven't gone out. Yeah. You've been in Queensland, I've been trapped at home.
Yeah.
Who gets this 2 weeks of hanging out with people or whatever? So it was very hard to commit to anything because of our on and off availability. So haven't probably renewed any of those ministry relationships that I always have found so valuable. But we're starting to sort of start that again now. So.
Lovely. It's probably a bit around the time to wrap up the Jibs, which is what we say when we finish the podcast.
Wrap up.
Yeah, because thanks for, again, showing that you haven't listened to any of the episodes before this.
Well, I have listened to maybe the first one, but it was like 2 years ago.
First one. Gosh, can't listen to any more of that. Yes, I believe you're episode 62
Yeah.
of
62.
this podcast.
Pretty exciting.
It's a good number.
It's a good number.
Yeah, sure. The question that we always ask towards the end is, because we kind of looked across some of your life, is what do you know now that you wish you knew as a younger Christian?
I think I know that God will provide. I worried a lot about different things and how it was all going to work out and what the best, like when we're just little things, when we're planning how to navigate a busy weekend, what's the best way to do it? God will work it out, and that's just a little thing. But when we, back to when we went overseas and I was so apprehensive about it, one of the big things that really spoke to me was we rented a place. We looked for ages for a place. One of the places we were going to rent fell through, and we ended up getting a different villa in a same compound. And when we arrived and walked up to that place, it had a side gate, which sounds stupid, but not many of them did for some reason. They didn't have side gates. They were just open, but ours had a side gate, and it was painted in the Jesus Beads colours.
Wow.
And
no way.
Yeah. It just was really, I was just stood there looking at it and getting a bit emotional about it, going, all these people have been praying for us that we would be prepared for this country. And I never once thought that God had been preparing that country for us. And here we've just arrived at this place, really, and it has a gate that is brightly painted, which is just crazy. So I just think that God is amazing, and God is good all the time. And in the timing of us, you know, going overseas and coming back, and all that happened with Soul Revival before we left and all that, although I feel very much like I wish we were here for the first 4 years of the church, the fact that we were still here beforehand and, you know, in that period of tumultuous time is a blessing, because we were, you know, if it was on our timing, we would have gone ages before Josh was born, you know. So what I know now that I didn't know in high school is that God is working in everything, in all aspects, and that I need to trust more.
Love that.
That's really cool. Really beautiful way to finish up.
Yeah, I was going to say, any final words? Or
Oh, I think it's each point of this has been a huge encouragement, and it's been windy, and there's been lots of stuff to cover and talk about, and multifaceted. But in each of those moments, that's kind of come through. It was like God sorting it out, and it's been really cool to see that. That was all I had to finish on.
I mean, the pillowcase
really
was a highlight.
The pillowcase was a highlight. The pillowcase was definitely.
But
I aim to
that
please.
That would be heretic.
But I think echoing what you said is like, there's a lot of things in your life, Kate, that you're talking about. It's kind of the polar opposites, like the FOMO, but also being introverted. Like there's the tension between the two. Just like the FOMO and the resistance, and you said you're not open to change, but then there's like lots of other things like the void and the tension, like getting across the void and all that kind of thing. It's just that, but I think it's exactly what you've been saying through all of those, is that you've been doing your best to trust in God. And I think I find that a real encouragement. And also, like, just because you've been involved in my life for a long time, being a leader of my year, so it's lovely to hear some things that I haven't heard before, because especially I feel like it's so good. But yeah, I think it's like, I feel like you've been holding, you've got like, you said that your parents aren't even the polar opposite, but you are for some reason. But it's like, there's like this through line of Jesus has got you anyway. Yeah. And it doesn't matter which side of the spectrum or the tension that you're on at any particular time. Yeah. And and I found it really encouraging the way you think about parenting too, which is helpful for me too, is that my kids are a bit younger than yours. And yeah, it's the thing of navigating it. How do you navigate the world as a parent, but then also as a Christian parent was really important as well. So
start early.
Yeah, start early. But thank you for your time, though.
My pleasure.
Thank you for giving us your time.
It has been fun.
Yes. So I was right.
There we go.
Is that what you're saying? You're saying that, Joel, you were right? After you ignored three of my texts.
You can take that the way you want it. I did. I ghosted you, didn't I? I did.
You did what?
Amazing. I ghosted you.
Yeah, you did.
That's really funny.
Anyway, ghost. Yeah, I was a ghostwriter.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. Thank you very much, Kate, for being part of the Cheap Lunch podcast. We always like to finish with a one way, which I don't have to explain to you. So we have to explain. We don't have to explain to Kate. One way.